You know, sometimes we chase so many things in life, money, success, recognition, and yet we still feel empty, don't we? Maybe that's why so many people are drawn to this idea called Nirvana. What if I told you Nirvana isn't some faraway place, not even a fancy reward waiting after life ends? It's more like a kind of peace, something you can touch slowly, gently within yourself. And maybe, just maybe, it's closer than you think. Before we go deeper, don't forget to subscribe. There's so much more I want to share with you about this journey. The word nirvana comes from an old language, Pali, and it means something like blowing out or extinguishing. Sounds simple, right? But it's not about stopping life. It's about putting out the fires inside us. The fire of wanting, the fire of anger, the fire of confusion. These fires are what make life feel restless, what keep us trapped in endless worry and dissatisfaction. And when those fires finally calm, well, that's nirvana, a space of peace that doesn't depend on anything else. Not money, not fame, not even relationships. It's just freedom. A long time ago in India, people were searching everywhere for ways to end suffering. Some would starve themselves or push their bodies to the limits, thinking that would somehow free them. The Buddha saw this and said, maybe there's a better way. He called it the middle way, a gentle, balanced path, not too harsh, not too loose, just steady. He found his own freedom sitting quietly under a tree, realizing something that words can hardly capture. He said in a way that there's a part of life, unborn, uncreated, unshaped, that exists beyond all the usual ups and downs. And if we can touch that, we can step out of suffering. Nirvana isn't about escaping this world. It's not about running away or hiding. It's about seeing life differently, seeing craving and worry for what they really are, and learning not to be controlled by them. And the Buddha, he wasn't into long debates or abstract theories. He just asked simple questions. What causes suffering? How can it end? And from there, he showed a path. At the heart of it, he talked about 4 truths. Life is messy. Life brings pain. We get stuck because we want things too much, or we cling to what's already gone. But here's the good part. Suffering can end. That's what nirvana is. And there's a way to get there step by step through what he called the Eightfold Path. It's like little lights guiding you, seeing clearly, thinking kindly, speaking gently, acting with care, living in a way that doesn't hurt others, making steady effort, staying present, calming the mind. Not rules to follow, but gentle guides, like holding a lantern while walking through a dark forest. And maybe the most beautiful thing, nirvana is something you experience, not just think about. The Buddha would say it's like extinguishing a flame or crossing a river. It's quiet, it's peaceful, it's soft. You can't really pin it down, and that's okay. That's part of the wonder. It's not a place on a map. It's not some eternal bliss that never changes. It's freedom from the fires inside, and it can be felt even in the simple moments of life. Even while alive, people can taste it. The Buddha called this nirvana with a remainder. It means the mind can be free, even if the body keeps walking through daily life. And later, when the body passes away, there's the final nirvana, the full freedom. But the journey starts here, right now, with tiny steps. Maybe a moment of kindness, a breath of awareness, a choice to let go of one small craving. Step by step it begins. If you're feeling this curiosity, maybe it's a sign you're ready to pause a little, breathe a little, and see what life feels like when the fires die down. And if you like hearing this kind of gentle exploration, maybe hit that subscribe button. We can walk this path together, slowly, quietly, in our own time. Because nirvana, it's not a sprint, It's a soft unfolding, and it might be closer than you think. After we start to understand what nirvana might be, it's natural to wonder, how do we actually get there? The Buddha didn't promise a magic shortcut or a sudden escape. Maybe that's a comforting part. It's not about perfection. It's about steps. Small steps, one at a time, like planting seeds in soft soil. And maybe, just maybe, even small seeds can grow into something steady and strong over time. Back then, people were used to extremes. Some thought they could starve their bodies, punish themselves, or live in complete isolation to reach freedom. The Buddha saw that these extremes weren't necessary. Instead, he offered the middle way, gentle, balanced, mindful. Not too harsh, not too easy, just enough to guide the mind and heart toward clarity. It's like walking a tightrope over chaos, but holding a steady pole that helps you breathe and move calmly. He also taught that the root of all suffering is craving. Maybe it's wanting more than we need. Maybe it's clinging to the past. Maybe it's pushing away what scares us. And every time we chase or resist, we feed a little fire inside. Nirvana isn't about denying life. It's about noticing these fires and learning not to be ruled by them. Imagine a calm lake. Every craving, every irritation might send ripples across the surface. Nirvana is a lake settling, becoming still, reflecting clearly. And the way to reach that calm lake, it's practical, everyday stuff. The Buddha laid it out in what he called the Eightfold Path. Don't let the word path scare you. It's not rigid. Think of it more like directions for walking in the dark with a soft lantern. Step carefully. Notice the stones under your feet. Look up now and then. Breathe. See clearly what's happening. Think kindly. Speak gently. Act with care. Live in a way that doesn't hurt others. Keep try when you stumble. Stay present and let your mind find stillness. Each step is small, but each step counts. Maybe it's helpful to imagine it like this. The Buddha didn't promise we'd never feel anger or fear or sadness. It's okay to feel. What changes is how we relate to these feelings. Instead of feeding them, we can watch them, let them pass, and slowly the fires shrink. And in that shrinking, there's space for peace, space for calm, space for something like joy that isn't tied to anything outside ourselves. He also liked using simple images, extinguishing a flame, crossing a river, stepping into a cool shade on a hot day. Maybe that's how we can start to imagine nirvana, not as a place, but as a quiet, gentle experience that comes when we let go of the things that pull us around. And it's okay if it's slow. It's okay if it's messy. Maybe it's enough to just notice a small moment of stillness and breathe. That's already part of the journey. And here's something I really like to remind people. Nirvana isn't just for monks. It's not just for people who leave everything behind. You don't have to sit in a cave for years or chant endlessly. You can take little steps in your own life. A mindful pause before a stressful meeting. A kind word when you'd usually complain. Noticing when you really want something and asking, do I need this? That's practice. That's walking the path. And maybe it's comforting to remember, it doesn't have to happen all at once. The Buddha often compared it to filling a pot with water, drop by drop. One small effort, one small moment, and slowly the pot fills. Each tiny act, letting go of anger, noticing the breath, showing kindness, adds up. Little by little, the calm grows. So if you're listening, maybe today could be the start of a small step. You don't have to have it all figured out. Just noticing your mind, just letting a little fire die down. Maybe that's enough for now. And if you're curious to keep walking together, learning these gentle steps, maybe click subscribe. I'll be sharing more about how to walk this path quietly, slowly, in our own lives. Because here's the thing, Nirvana is not far away. It's not some unreachable goal. It's a kind of quiet, soft space inside us that can grow, drop by drop, step by step, moment by moment. And even just a little taste of that peace, maybe it's enough to keep us moving. So, now that we've started talking about walking the path, maybe it's helpful to look at the heart of what the Buddha taught. He called them the Four Noble Truths. And I want to say right away, don't let the word truth scare you. It's not a law. It's more like a gentle observation about life, something you can feel if you pay attention. The first one is simple. Life isn't always easy. Maybe that sounds obvious, but the Buddha wanted us to really notice it. Suffering shows up in all sorts of ways. Loss, disappointment, frustration, worry. Even when things seem good, there's still that little itch inside, a subtle unease. Maybe it's okay to just admit that life can be heavy sometimes. That's the first truth. It's not pessimistic. It's real. The second truth is about why we feel that way. He called it craving, wanting things to be a certain way, clinging to what we like, pushing away what we don't like. Maybe it's wanting a promotion. Maybe it's wanting someone to love us the way we hope. Maybe it's just wishing our day would go perfectly. And when we cling, we suffer. When we resist, we suffer. It's almost like our own wanting keeps the fire alive. And that's okay to notice too. It's okay to admit, maybe I want too much sometimes. Then comes a good part. The third truth. Suffering can end. Maybe that sounds too simple, or maybe too hard to believe, but the Buddha meant that there's a way to quiet the fire inside. There's a way to find freedom, to taste peace that isn't dependent on anything outside of us. That's nirvana. It's not about escaping life or pretending the hard parts don't exist. It's about stepping into a space inside yourself where the fires of wanting, anger, and confusion have calmed down. And that space that's gentle, it's quiet, it's safe. And the fourth truth is the path, the way to get there. He called it the Eightfold Path. And it's not some rigid checklist. Think of it more like gentle guidance for living. See clearly, think kindly, speak gently, act with care, live in a way that doesn't hurt others. Keep trying, even when it's hard. Stay present. Calm your mind. And maybe, slowly, as you practice these little things, step by step, your heart softens, the fire shrinks, and you can breathe. I like to think of it like walking through a forest with a soft lantern. You might stumble, maybe the path is slippery, maybe the night feels long, but every small step, every careful look brings a little more light. Maybe the path curves in ways you don't expect. Maybe it takes longer than you hope, and that's okay too. The Buddha didn't promise perfection. He promised practice, attention, effort, and a gentle space to rest in between. Maybe you've noticed that just reading this, thinking about it, feels a little lightening. That's the point. The Four Noble Truths aren't meant to be memorized like rules. They're meant to be felt, noticed, and lived in small ways. Maybe today, when something frustrates you, you can pause and notice the craving behind it. Maybe tomorrow, when someone annoys you, you can take a breath before reacting. And maybe, in these tiny moments, you touch something like freedom. And here's a gentle reminder, nirvana isn't far away. You don't need to run off to a monastery. You don't need to give up your life. You just need to notice. Maybe practice kindness. Maybe breathe. Maybe step back from a thought that pulls too hard. And little by little, the space inside your mind grows. It's soft, it's quiet, and it's yours. If you're curious about learning these gentle steps with me, maybe subscribe. We'll walk through this together, slowly, softly, step by step. And in the next part, we'll explore how each piece of the Eightfold Path works in daily life. Not as rules, but as little guides for peace. Because even small glimpses of this calm can change everything drop by drop. So, now that we've talked about the Four Noble Truths, let's wander a little further down the path the Buddha showed. He called it the Eightfold Path. And I want to whisper this first. It's not a strict set of rules, not a checklist to make you feel guilty if you slip. Think of it more like little lights along a dark trail, helping you see, helping you breathe, helping you move without fear. And maybe if you follow even a few of these lights, slowly you can touch a little calm, a little freedom in your own life. The first step is seeing clearly, right view. It's about noticing life as it really is. Maybe things don't always go our way. Maybe people disappoint us. Maybe we chase and we still feel empty. Seeing clearly isn't about being sad. It's about being honest. And maybe honesty is enough to start letting go. Then comes right intention. The Buddha wanted us to soften our thoughts, to wish well for ourselves and others. Not in a rigid way, but gently, maybe a moment of thinking. I hope this person is okay, even if you don't feel like it. Maybe letting go of a small desire. Just for a second, it's okay to start small. It's okay to not get it perfect. Right speech is next. Words can hurt or heal. Maybe you've said things in anger that you regret. Maybe you've stayed quiet when someone needed a kind word. This step is about noticing words before they leave your lips. Maybe you can whisper softly instead of shouting. Maybe you can pause. Maybe even smile. Small things, but they matter. Right action, right livelihood. These are about what we do and how we live. Acting in ways that don't harm others. And earning a living without causing suffering. Maybe your job isn't perfect. Maybe your choices aren't flawless. That's okay. But maybe you can sprinkle a little care into what you do. A little thoughtfulness here. A small kindness there. Step by step. Right effort is like training a gentle garden of the mind. Maybe there are weeds, anger, jealousy, fear. And maybe there are flowers, patience, love, joy. Right effort is noticing the weeds and tending the flowers, not punishing yourself for the weeds, not forcing the flowers, just gentle care, a little every day. Right mindfulness is noticing your breath, noticing your thoughts, noticing when life feels heavy or light. Maybe you can just pause for a breath, maybe even for 5 seconds, and say, "It's okay, I see you." And in that noticing, something softens. The river inside slows, and for a moment you float. Right concentration is finding stillness, letting the mind rest. Maybe it's meditation. Maybe it's walking. Maybe it's washing dishes slowly and fully noticing each movement. It doesn't matter what method. What matters is letting the mind settle, letting the ripples calm, and tasting quiet. And here's the beauty. You don't need to do all of them perfectly, not all at once. Each step supports the other. Seeing clearly helps your intentions. Gentle intentions help your speech and actions. Effort and mindfulness help concentration. It's like a little web of support, holding you up as you walk. Maybe today you could try one small thing. Notice your breath. Say one kind word. Pause before reacting. Let a small fire inside you cool down for a moment. And maybe tomorrow, add another step. Little by little, the path unfolds. And that unfolding, quiet as it may be, is already a taste of freedom. And if you want to walk this path together, slowly, softly, step by step, maybe click subscribe. There's more to explore. How these lights of the path touch everyday life. How they help us calm the storms inside. how they can make even ordinary days feel peaceful. Because maybe in small ways, Nirvana is not somewhere far away. It's right here in how we live, how we breathe, how we care. You know, one of the things that makes Nirvana so hard to talk about is that it's not something you can really point to. It's not a place you can visit or a prize you can hold. The Buddha knew this. So he used little images, little metaphors to help us feel it, instead of just think about it. And maybe if we listen softly, we can sense it too. He would talk about a flame. Imagine a candle burning, small and bright. That flame is like the fire inside us, the fire of craving, of anger, of fear. Now imagine the flame slowly going out, not in a dramatic way, not suddenly, just gently, softly, until the light is calm. That's a little like Nirvana. The fire isn't gone in a harsh way. It's just rested. And in that resting, there's peace. Or picture a river. You're on one side, struggling to swim through currents that pull and push, and finally, you find the shore. You step out, safe, free. You don't need to fight the river anymore. You can just stand there, letting the water pass behind you. That quiet shore, that calm landing, that's Nirvana too. It's not somewhere else. It's the moment you stop being pulled by your cravings, your fears, your endless wanting. And sometimes the Buddha compared it to cool shade on a hot day. Life can be scorching sometimes. Stress, pain, loss, worry. And suddenly there's a pause, a soft space where you can rest. The heat doesn't vanish entirely, but you feel relief, you feel peace. And maybe, just maybe, that's enough to see what freedom could feel like. These images are gentle reminders that Nirvana is an experience. It's not a place, it's not a thing. And it's okay if it's hard to picture. Maybe our minds are too busy, too tangled with habits, too full of noise. That's fine. Even a tiny glimpse, a brief calm in the middle of chaos, can show us a hint of what the Buddha meant. And the softest part of this is that Nirvana doesn't demand perfection. You don't need to have all your cravings extinguished today. You don't need to be completely calm or perfectly wise. Maybe it's enough to notice a little fire and let it rest for a moment. Maybe it's enough to breathe slowly and feel a small space of peace. Maybe that's already a taste of freedom. Even just thinking about these images can be a little practice. A flame goes out. A river reaches shore. Shade gives relief. And when you carry that image softly with you, it can guide your steps, your breath, your words, your moments. You can come back to it again and again, like returning to a quiet corner of your mind. And if you like exploring these quiet corners with me, maybe subscribe. We can slowly wander this path together, softly noticing each step, learning to see these small glimpses of calm in our everyday lives. Because Nirvana maybe is less about a destination and more about the gentle pauses we give ourselves along the way. Step by step, breath by breath, a little more fire rests. And in that resting, you begin to feel just a little lighter, a little freer. Maybe that's enough for now. Maybe that's the beginning. So, now that we've touched on the idea of Nirvana through images, the flame, the river, the cool shade, maybe it's time to talk about something a little deeper. The Buddha spoke of two aspects of Nirvana, and the words are a bit long. Sopadikasa Nirvana and Parinirvana. But don't worry, the idea is gentle and simple, and maybe even comforting. Sopadikasa Nirvana, that's the one you can experience while you're still alive. Maybe you've had a quiet moment when your mind just felt calm, like the fire inside you softened for a while. That's a little taste of it. The cravings are smaller. The anger doesn't rule you. The fear doesn't push you around. And yet, your body keeps moving through life. Work, family, errands, all the things we have to do. That's okay. You don't have to leave the world behind to find a spark of peace. That spark, that gentle calm, that 𝐂𝐡𝐚𝐧𝐽𝐿 Nirvana. It's like carrying a small lantern through the dark, light enough to guide your steps, soft enough not to blind you. And then there's Parinirvana. That's the final nirvana, the one after life. When someone fully awakened passes away, their mind is free and there's no need for rebirth. It's not scary. It's not nothingness. It's not disappearing. It's simply freedom from all the cycles that kept the fire alive. And maybe thinking about this can bring a little peace. Not fear, not longing, just quiet understanding that life doesn't trap the mind forever. What I love about this is that it reminds us nirvana isn't only a far-off goal. Even small glimpses, small experiences while we're alive, are enough to touch something real, something soft, something freeing. Maybe today you can notice a moment when your mind is calm, when you don't cling, when you just breathe and watch the world without needing to grab it. That moment, that's 𝐂𝐡𝐚𝐧𝐽𝐿 Nirvana. And maybe that's comforting, too, because we often think we have to achieve something huge or become perfect to touch peace. But the Buddha didn't ask that. He asked for steady practice, gentle awareness, soft patience. He said, little by little, drop by drop, the heart can settle, the fire can calm, and maybe one day it rests completely, whether in this life or beyond. Even in daily life, this perspective can change things. You might notice yourself reacting less to anger, noticing your cravings without chasing them, feeling a small calm in your chest during a busy day. Maybe you see someone struggling and feel compassion instead of frustration. These are small touches of nirvana. They're gentle, quiet, but they matter, and they grow slowly as you continue to notice and practice. And here's a soft reminder. Nirvana isn't about rushing, isn't about doing it all at once. It's okay to move slowly, to stumble, to feel lost sometimes. Even a little pause, a soft breath, a kind word can be a drop in that pot of calm that the Buddha spoke about. Step by step, the heart softens, the mind clears, the fires rest. And if you want to keep exploring these gentle steps with me, maybe hit subscribe. There's more we can uncover together. Ways to notice these sparks of freedom. Ways to carry that calm into the messy, noisy world around us. Because maybe nirvana isn't somewhere far away. It's in the soft moments we create inside ourselves, even now. Now, let's take a quiet moment to talk about the foundations of the path. The things the Buddha said hold everything together. Ethics, concentration, and wisdom. Don't let these words feel heavy or strict. Maybe it's easier to think of them as three gentle friends walking with you, helping you step softly through life, helping you breathe a little easier. Ethics, or sila, is the first friend. It's about living in a way that doesn't harm yourself or others. Simple things. Maybe pausing before speaking, noticing if your words could hurt. Maybe choosing honesty over convenience, or kindness over indifference. Maybe noticing the impact of your actions, even the small ones. It's not about being perfect. It's about creating a little space inside where the mind isn't tangled with guilt or regret. And in that space, the heart can begin to breathe. Then comes concentration, or samadhi. Imagine the mind like water. When it's stirred up, it's cloudy, hard to see. When it's still, everything reflects clearly. Concentration is the gentle practice of stilling the water. Maybe it's through meditation, maybe through mindful breathing, maybe even washing dishes slowly, really noticing each movement. The goal isn't forcing silence or control. It's letting the mind settle naturally. And when it does, even for a moment, there's clarity, a little quiet, a little peace. And finally, wisdom, or prajna. This is the soft, subtle seeing of things as they really are, not as we want them to be, not as the stories in our heads tell us, but as they truly are. Maybe noticing that feelings change, that everything is temporary, that even the self we cling to is not as solid as it seems. And maybe noticing that suffering arises from craving, from resisting, from pushing against life instead of flowing with it. Wisdom isn't something we read in a book. It's something we feel, something we discover through living, through watching, through breathing, through soft attention. The beauty of these three friends, ethics, concentration, and wisdom, is that they support one another. Ethics makes the mind steady, which helps concentration grow. Concentration brings clarity, which allows wisdom to blossom. And wisdom informs ethics, guiding your steps gently, softly, without harshness or force. It's a circle, not a ladder, a soft dance rather than a climb. And maybe the most comforting thing is this. You don't have to do it all perfectly. You can start anywhere. You can start small. A kind word, a soft breath, a gentle pause before reacting. And over time, each small act, each tiny moment of noticing, is like a drop filling that pot of calm the Buddha talked about. Slowly, quietly, steadily, the heart and mind settle. Even in ordinary life, this trio can guide you. Ethics helps you sleep at night without guilt. Concentration helps you face chaos without panic. And wisdom helps you see the bigger picture, reminding you that everything changes, everything passes, and that suffering doesn't have to control you. Step by step, moment by moment, the fires shrink. And if you're walking this path with me, maybe subscribe. We'll explore together how these gentle practices weave into everyday life, how they calm the storms inside, how they make room for peace, even in small, ordinary moments. Because maybe, just maybe, Nirvana isn't somewhere distant. It's in the quiet steps we take today, here and now. Now, let's take a soft moment to talk about something important. What Nirvana is not. Sometimes people get tangled in ideas and misunderstandings and can make the path feel far away or confusing. Maybe it's okay to just gently clear a few of these up, like brushing fog off a window, so you can see a little more clearly. First, Nirvana is not annihilation. It doesn't mean disappearing, like you're gone, nothing left. That's a scary thought for most of us, and it's okay to feel that fear. But the Buddha didn't say Nirvana is about ceasing to exist. It's about ending the fires inside, the craving, the anger, the fear that keep us restless. The self isn't destroyed. It's simply not clinging anymore. The mind rests. The heart rests. And maybe that's enough to feel free. Second, Nirvana is not a place. It's not some distant paradise waiting for you somewhere out there. Maybe you've imagined it as clouds or golden gates or a faraway land. That's fine. Our minds love to picture things. But Nirvana isn't location. It's a state of being. It's like when a flame goes out or when you step into cool shade on a hot day. You don't ask, where'd the flame go? You just notice the calm that remains. That's Nirvana. Third, Nirvana is not eternal bliss, at least not in the way we usually think about happiness. It's not a constant high, not a never-ending smile. Bliss tied to conditions, pleasure that comes and goes, that's different. Nirvana is beyond craving altogether. It's a quiet, steady peace. You might feel relief, freedom, a soft clarity, but it's not the same as chasing joy or pleasure. And maybe that's a relief. It means you don't have to keep running after something that always slips away. These misunderstandings happen because our minds naturally try to fit everything into what we already know. We want to imagine Nirvana in familiar terms. And that's okay. But the Buddha's invitation is gentle, Notice, experience, feel rather than think or define too rigidly. Maybe that's why he often spoke in images and stories, because direct experience is what matters. And here's the soft whisper in all of this. You don't have to understand Nirvana completely. You don't have to get it right now. Maybe it's enough to notice moments when the mind feels calm, when the heart softens, when the craving loosens, even a little. That's already a taste. That's already a step. Even small experiences like pausing before reacting, breathing fully during a stressful moment, offering a kind word, or letting go of a petty worry. These are tiny glimpses of nirvana. They're not distant. They're not abstract. They're here. They're now. And maybe it's comforting to know that the path is gentle. You don't have to force it. You don't have to get it perfect. Little by little, drop by drop, awareness grows. Fire calms. Mind softens. Heart opens. Step by step, moment by moment, the inner freedom the Buddha spoke of becomes more real. And if you want, you can walk this slow, gentle path with me. Maybe subscribe so we can keep exploring these quiet spaces together, softly noticing, slowly practicing, feeling the calm grow. Because maybe nirvana isn't a goal far away. It's in the small, quiet moments we create inside ourselves, even today. Now, let's quietly talk about how nirvana can touch our daily life. Maybe you've imagined it as something far away, something only monks or sages could experience. But the Buddha often whispers a softer truth. Even small steps can bring a taste of freedom, calm, and clarity into your everyday moments. And maybe if we pay attention, we can feel it too. Think about fear. Not the big, dramatic kind, but the small, creeping fear that shows up when life doesn't go as planned. The mind tightens, the heart flutters. Nirvana is like a gentle release. When we stop clinging so tightly, even for a moment, fear loses its grip. Maybe it's pausing before reacting. Maybe it's taking a breath and noticing. It's okay. I'm here. I can handle this. Small, quiet moments, but already a little freedom. And peace. Oh, peace doesn't always roar. Often it whispers. Maybe it's the way your mind doesn't bounce from thought to thought for a few seconds. Maybe it's noticing the warmth of sunlight on your hand, or the sound of a bird outside your window. Nirvana is in these soft pauses, in the moments when we let go just enough to notice life as it is, without pushing or pulling. And compassion. Maybe this is the most beautiful. When craving softens and fear loosens, space opens for kindness. Maybe you feel a little more patience with a friend, a stranger, or even yourself. Maybe you listen more, smile more, forgive more. Nirvana transforms how we meet the world, not because we force it, but because the heart naturally widens when it's not bound by constant wanting. Even in busy life, there are small ways to practice this. Mindful work, really noticing what you do, being present in small tasks. Generosity, offering time, a smile, or help without expecting anything back. Loving kindness, softly wishing well for others, even the ones who frustrate you. These aren't big leaps, but each one brings a drop of calm, a spark of freedom, a little taste of nirvana. And maybe the most comforting part is that it doesn't have to be perfect. Some days you'll notice, some days you won't. Some moments your mind will be restless, your heart tight. That's okay. Even noticing that restlessness is a step. Even taking one small pause is progress. Nirvana isn't about perfection. It's about gentle, steady practice, awareness, and care. And here's a soft invitation. Maybe you can start today. Pause for a breath. Smile at someone. Notice a small moment of calm. And maybe Slowly, over time, these little steps add up. Your mind softens. Your heart opens. You feel freer, lighter, a little more connected to life. If you like, we can keep walking this path together. Maybe subscribe, and we can explore more ways to bring these quiet moments of freedom, clarity, and compassion into our daily lives. Because Nirvana isn't faraway land. It's here. It's now, in the way we breathe, notice, and care for ourselves and others. So here we are, at the last part of this gentle journey together. I want to sit with you for a moment and breathe through what we've been exploring. The idea of Nirvana, not as a faraway goal, but as something quietly possible in this life, in each of our moments. And maybe, if we whisper to ourselves softly, we can feel it too. Nirvana isn't a destination. It's not a prize waiting somewhere beyond the clouds. It's a way of seeing, a way of being. Maybe it's noticing the quiet in a noisy day, the calm in a restless mind, the small release from craving or worry. Maybe it's that pause before reacting, that breath before speaking, that gentle awareness of the present. These little sparks are already nirvana, already freedom, already peace. And living this way doesn't mean withdrawing from life. Not at all. It means moving through life differently. Maybe you notice your thoughts, your words, your actions a little more. Maybe you respond with a soft heart instead of reacting with fear or anger. Maybe you see that everyone is struggling in their own way, and you offer kindness, even in small gestures, a smile, a helping hand, a listening ear. That's nirvana too. Even in difficult moments, this gentle path can guide us. When fear rises, we notice it. When craving tugs, we pause. When frustration builds, we breathe. We don't need to be perfect. It's okay to stumble. It's okay to feel lost. Each tiny pause, each soft breath, each kind choice is a step forward, and that is already enough. And maybe the most beautiful thing is this. Nirvana transforms us quietly. It softens the heart. It steadies the mind. It opens space for compassion, patience, and clarity. Not in a rush. Not in a grand, dramatic change. Just softly, slowly, steadily. Step by step. Breath by breath. Drop by drop, the heart fills with peace. And I want to remind you, you don't have to walk this alone. Maybe you can carry these whispers with you. And if you want, we can walk a little together. Maybe subscribe, so we can keep exploring these small sparks of freedom, mindfulness, and compassion in daily life. Nothing forced, nothing grandiose, just gentle moments, slowly guiding us toward calm, clarity, and heartful living. So, maybe today you pause, maybe you breathe, maybe you notice, maybe you choose one soft action, kindness, patience, a little awareness, and maybe in that small moment you touch nirvana, not somewhere far away, not in some distant future, but here, right now. Because the Buddha's teaching wasn't about chasing something impossible. It was about noticing, practicing, living gently, softly, fully. And maybe, just maybe, every small act, every soft breath, every gentle choice is already a step into freedom, a step into peace, a step into nirvana. And that's enough for today. That's more than enough.